All right. What's up, money getters? What's good, everybody? I hope everyone is having a great evening. I got another action packed live for you all. I hope
Your
you guys
health
are
is your
ready.
biggest asset. Find covered California
Good.
plans starting at $0.
Because I'm ready to turn up with you tonight. And by turn up, I mean turn up with all the information that I know is going to help you reach your goals this year. We are on day 4 of Money Making March. That's what's up. What's good, Denise? How are you doing? Listen, girl, tonight we're talking family, uh, finances, and all of that different. So we're talking about our friends and finances. Listen, we're going to get into some things because in 2026, it's all about us getting to the point where we're living comfortably, where we're not living beyond our means, where we're reaching our goals. And we can't do that if we don't have our finances in order, if we're not being a steward over what God has blessed us with. So let's get into it tonight. I'm going to keep it so real. It may get a little, I mean, it may be a little touch and go tonight. So just so you know, off top, it's all love. I love a good debate, but I want to hear from you all. I want you guys to tell me what you think. Of course, I set the chat to subscriber only mode. If you are subscribed to the channel for at least 20 minutes, then you could comment. That's just to keep the trolls at bay. I don't have a moderator. I am my own moderator. So I got to do what I got to do. And if the trolls want to stick around for 20 minutes to go off in the chat, so be it. But like I said, tonight's live, um, you know what? Look at me. See where I go, y'all. I'm a day ahead. We're not talking about family and finances tonight. Oops. We're talking about trying to build, and our significant other isn't in agreement with us, right? Like sometimes we are married or we are engaged, and I hope you're not trying to work something out with somebody that's just your boyfriend or baby daddy, because that's a whole other thing. But if you are, because I don't want to exclude anybody, then tonight's live is for you. But listen, I've been working on all of my lives and getting things together for you guys. I'm sorry about that. I'm a day ahead of the chat. Tonight, we're talking about trying to save money and your man is spending up the money, trying to work towards your goal and your girl is non supportive and always has something to say, always wants to start an argument or a fight when you got to get out and get stuff done. We're not having that in 2026. If you can't get with the business, you got to go, right? All right. Thank you guys for coming in. If you're on the replay, I love you. I thank you for watching. I hope you stay until the end. We got some good stuff coming up for tonight. Also, please leave a comment and let me know that you stopped by so that I can see that you were here and I'll comment back. I always love when you guys watch the show after it's over with because that shows real support, and I can't get enough of real support. But for those of you who are in the live, say hello. Where are you chatting from? Rep your city in the chat. Also, say hello so I can shout you out, and hit that like button for your girl. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, if you don't know who I am, I'm Mommy Money Getter. You can call me MMG. We talk about money over here. We talk about our lives over here. But most of all, we talk about reaching our goals and living our best lives. So if that sounds like something that you like to do, if you like to keep it real, real honest, subscribe to my channel. All right, so let me get to my notes. And y'all, let me just say, I'm going to have to talk to Chatty tonight. By Chatty, I mean Chat GPT. Did you guys see that thumbnail that Chatty gave me? Now, when I posted it, I knew it was a fool. I knew it was looking crazy. But I have so much going on. I tell you guys, I'm a single mom of 3 teenagers and I do a lot of running around. So I use chat like my assistant. But I'm going to tell Chatty tonight when we're going over tomorrow's live and whatever else we're working on. Listen, that thumbnail you gave me last time was crazy as hell. Don't give me no more thumbnails like that. But I got all my notes. I tell chat what I need. I tell chat what I want, what type of live I'm doing. I give them all my ideals, and Chatty helps me pull it together. So thank you, Chat GPT. If you're liking the chair, it has a desk to match. And if you want to learn more about it, I linked the chair and the desk in the chat or in the live, so you can check that out as well. Also, last thing before we get started, guys, I know it's a lot, but I also posted new money getter merch. So if you are interested in repping for the money getter squad, head over to my community post. I posted the t-shirts there. You can check them out. The new money getter shirts come in onesies for the little infants. They come in preschool size, grade school size, women and men. So the whole family could rep for your girl. And the shirts come in navy blue, black, gray, blue, and I think like a reddish orange. So if you want to check that out, head over to the community wall, and then you can email me to find out more about how you can get the shirt. I did. Did I pin it? Okay, I pinned that to the chat, my email and all of that. The t-shirts are $40, but if you order them tonight, I said I was gonna place the order yesterday, I think, but I didn't do it yet. So tonight, for sure, I'm placing the order, and you should get your t-shirts by next week. I'll place the order. You tell me what color you want, what size you want. We're doing it a little different right now until I get my new website up. So you can trust me. I'm good for it. I'm good for it. But let's get started with the chat. Okay, let me make sure we are on the right notes because I already. And when I tell you guys for Money Making March, oh, this is not about to be another boring seminar, another boring live talking about the same old, same old. We're getting to the nitty gritty, the stuff that really affects us, the stuff that is really holding us back. And I feel like I feel like we all have someone in our lives that is preventing us from reaching our fullest potential. Sometimes it's our kids, right? And not even on purpose. If you're a single mom like me, your kids come first, right? So you got to navigate around them. They're not on my schedule. I'm on their schedule. So I try to make sure that I do things in a way that doesn't interfere with me being a mom. When they were younger, there was just no way that I could do a lot of the things that I wanted to do because they were young, very needy, and it just was what it was. I just didn't do a lot of the things that I wanted to do, and I didn't have a problem with that because my teens were born when I was middle aged, so I had done everything I wanted to do. So it wasn't like it was an issue. But now that I'm on the what would I call this? Well, I call this my second chapter or my next chapter of life. So now that they're older and more independent, I'm older and more calmer and retired. So now I can do things different. It wasn't just my kids, sometimes it was work, right? And let me be for real. Their daddy, honey, honey, oh my gosh. I don't want to go down that road. I do not want to go down that road. So I will come current. Since my divorce, I haven't really been in a serious relationship, almost kind of. I have done some dating, but when I think about being with someone and when I think about someone who will be ideal for me, they certainly have to be ambitious. Um, they have to be goal oriented, and they have to be consistent in working towards their goal. They can't be someone who says, "Oh, yeah, I want to." go back to school and get my master's, and they keep saying it and they don't do it. Or yes, I was thinking about starting um, a business. I do taxes for my friends and family. And this year I'm thinking about opening up my own tax business. And then they never do anything to realize that. You know what I mean? So I want someone who is a go getter, a self starter. I don't want someone who is looking for me to help them with everything, because sometimes you get with someone and they want you to be their assistant, their secretary. They want to say, well, this is what I want to do with my life. And I felt like when I was married, that's what I got a lot of. And that kind of frustrated me, because just like I'm the goal getter, money getter that you see today, even though I was a mom, even though I was married, even though I was gainfully employed, I still had outside interests. I was a blogger, I was a writer, and I had other ideals for myself. I've never just been someone who was like, okay, I'm just going to be married and then that's it. And plus, you know, sometimes he and I weren't in the best, uh, in the best situation. So it wasn't a, a marriage where I ever felt like, okay, I'll be able to count on him. It was never that. I always knew that we would probably eventually come to be divorced and that I would be a single mom. And I wasn't okay with that. I was just being realistic. But anyway, like I said, he had his goals and he would always feel like he needed more support. Well, I support you and everything, and you're doing this and you're doing that, but I need your help with this. And it wasn't that. I just was a self starter. I just knew what I wanted and I was going after it. And if I needed his support, it would be more like moral support. I didn't need you to help me write out a blueprint for what I was going to do. I didn't need you to help me set up my goals or anything like that. I didn't even need you to really support me, because it was going to happen anyway. But when you're married to someone, you just kind of want that. I see you, um, and I'm here for you, right? Okay. So I didn't really have that. And I know some of you who are watching or tuned in, you don't really have that. And I wouldn't say that's an indication that you need to get divorced, but it is a red flag. And you got to probably try to find a way to navigate around it, because sometimes we can be married to our biggest ops. Sometimes we have a goal in mind, we have dreams and aspirations, and that very person that we are sleeping next to is sabotage, doing their best to sabotage us, right? So how do you stay with someone who doesn't want to see you win? Um, I don't know. I don't know how you could do it, but people have worked through worse. Hey, the boxing scholar, thanks for tuning in. And Deneen, if I didn't say hello to you, thank you for tuning in as well. Forgive me. I thought I said hello. I'm not sure if I did. Absolutely, Deneen. You could be sleeping with your enemy. What's worse, and I hate to say it because I hate being negative when it comes to marriage. Um, but I'm just going to keep it real. Do you guys want me to keep it real or not? Sometimes your partner could be so jealous of you. Like, I don't understand that, because I'm your wife, or you're my husband. Why would I be jealous of you? If you win, I win. If you go out there and you hit a lick, sorry, that's the South Central in me. Sometimes I talk like that or I speak like that. If you go out there and hit a lick and you bring home a bag, I'm spending it anyway. As long as you're not taking your money and spending it out, going out and spending it on some on the side chick, we're all good, because I got plans for your money, baby. Right? And if you're my husband, what's mine is yours. So why be jealous? But some people are really very much like that. Uh, Jada Pinkett, I think, I can't remember. So don't hold me to it. I can't remember if she said that she was jealous of Will, but she said that he thought, here I am making all this money and I'm bringing it home for us and I'm giving you a life that I feel like is commiserate with who you are as a woman. I'm giving you, you know, a dream life. And the whole time Jada was like, but I don't want this life. I don't want to be married. I don't want, I'm miserable. The whole time she was miserable. And I don't know if that's because her career wasn't going the way she wanted it to, or because she didn't want to be a stay at home wife. I don't know what it was. But it's like this man is like, I'm trying my best. I'm breaking my back to give you this. And the whole time you're telling me you don't want it. To me, that would be selfish. And I would be like, you got to go. But they're still together. I guess they're still managing to work through their issues. Um, and I'm just using celebrities not to gossip about them, but just so you can relate. And I'll, put in little anecdotes about my life um, where I can relate at, right? But also, Cardi B said that Offset was jealous of her, like he really wanted to see her fail when they weren't together anymore. And I feel like this, even if you, I feel like this, when two people are married, right? They should be able to, and this is going to sound a little bit, you know, different, I should say, but two people should be able to use each other in a way to elevate themselves, right? And I don't know if use is necessarily the word, but it should be a reciprocal relationship where both parties benefit. So if we're married and if we so happen to divorce later on, when we separate, we should have had a relationship where we were able to build together and accomplish our goals together. It shouldn't be that the husband was working and going out and accomplishing the things that he wants. Because I know people like that too. The wife is a stay-at-home mom, but the husband, he's getting his education, he's working, and the wife doesn't have any of that. So if they were to divorce, then the wife is in a is already in a financial, bind. Because I know a lot of times some men they stay with their wives until their last child is an adult, and then they're like, psh. And if a wife is with someone like that who decides, okay, we raised our kids, the last one is in college, now I want a divorce, now I'm ready to get on, and she didn't take the opportunity. And I'm in women's groups, I'm in mothers groups on Facebook and stuff like that. And I hear women talk about it all the time. When they got a divorce, they were left with nothing. They had to rebuild all over again. They didn't have child support, or if they did have child support, it wasn't enough. So I would say this, and I always say, well, I feel like men should pay the bulk of the bills and stuff like that. And let's not get started on that tonight. But when people are married and they have children, somebody has to stay home. So even if the wife is staying home and the husband is paying the majority of the bill, she should at least already be educated going into the relationship, already have a healthy savings going into the marriage. Um, I tell my daughters, listen, before you get married, I want you to be well traveled. I want you to be well educated. And I want you to already have a house under your belt, already have money saved up. So that when you go into a marriage, you're not going into something relying on the other person. And it sounds a little contradictory because, like I said, you should be able to build together. But I feel that both parties should already be well established because why are you getting married if you don't have that already, right? And that's kind of where problems come, right? Because if the male is the financial provider, he can become resentful. And if the woman is at home with the kids and she doesn't have any money to do the things she wants, she can become resentful. But I feel like that's another topic for another day. Hey, and thanks for tuning in. Tonight we are talking about relationships and money. And I'm going to try to stay on topic so we can stay on time tonight. Thank you all for tuning in and hitting that like button for me. I appreciate you. Um, so let's get down to the notes. Ooh, let me turn this off. Do not disturb, baby. Um, okay, so we're talking about money, boundaries, and relationships. Have any of you ever had an issue with, say, for instance, and I want you guys to be truthful and honest in the comments. Have you ever had it be the case where you were saving money or you thought you were saving money and you had a certain dollar amount in your bank account, but when you went to check, it was way less? And this could be for husbands or wives to answer in the comments if you would like to answer that. Have you ever had have you ever had it be the case where you were saving money with your spouse and then when you checked your account, he done went and took some money out? He can't really explain himself, or he went and spent money on some big ticket item and he didn't consult with you first. Hey TSM, thank you for tuning in. Absolutely. Thank you for showing love to me as well, TSM. I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. You had that happen to you several times. I think I remember, TSM, you talked a little bit, you have spoken a little bit about your ex and how shaky things got with you and her. Because a lot of times women like to talk about how men did them wrong. And I'm not saying your wife did you wrong. I'm just saying, speaking in general. But sometimes the woman could be the one messing up, running up credit card bills and running through the money, and the husband is working hard and trying to provide for his family, and he can barely pay the bills because his wife has a bad Amazon addiction, right? Right? I know that's right, Deneen. I feel like this. There should be an account for the house bills. I think there should be like a savings account where the husband and wife save together for goals that they may have in mind. But also, I think a husband and wife should each have their own account, like a gold stash in case you gotta go. Uh, like, and it's not your business what's in my account. Once I give you the portion I'm supposed to give you for the house bills, once I give you the portion we're saving as a couple, it ain't none of your business what else I got. Okay, so, but I remember when I was married, my husband said, "Well, I don't even know how much you make," and I sometimes I would have pay stubs lying around, so I'm sure he saw those. But for the most part, what do you mean you don't know how much I make? I know that that was really unorthodox, but yeah. Hey, Lisa J. Stocks, thanks for tuning in tonight. We're talking about relationships and money, and I want you guys to keep it real in the chiz at. Let me know if you can relate to anything that I'm talking about tonight. Let me know. And what's my first question I have? Let me see. Okay, where am I at? Sorry, guys. Okay. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. Almost there. Okay. Okay, I have a question for you guys, and I'm going to try to see if I can get a poll going. Who is the builder in the relationship? Is it you or your spouse? And you guys can answer that question for me. Who is the builder in your relationship? You or your spouse? Oh, child, I can't type to save my life. Okay. So we got that poll going. Or I should have put both, right? How important is privacy in a relationship, TSM? Thanks for asking. Yes, both should be the builder. That's what I was saying earlier as well, TSM. I think that for me, as I said, I'm divorced and I'm now dating. If I'm thinking of becoming serious with someone, then they have to have the same disposition that I have. They have to be a go getter, a money getter. Okay. You don't have to be rich. I'm not rich, but, or nor do you have to aspire to be rich because sometimes it's not about money. As long as you can support yourself financially, I think that's the goal. You know, we don't want to be out here worrying about what we're going to eat. However, I don't want to be with someone who is content with just the bare minimum. You know what I'm saying? Like, be grateful for what God has blessed you with, but at the same time, be a creator, be imaginative, be industrious. That's what I want. But in a relationship, privacy, um, when it comes to money, I am so scared to let somebody just in like that. And I know that's a part of me that if I ever hope to get married again, that's a part of me that's going to be hard for me to let go. I don't know if I can let you know how much money I got. That's too naked. That's too naked for me. By builder, Lisa J. I mean, who is the one that is the go getter? Who's the one that's always after a goal or constantly wanting to achieve something else? Because sometimes in relationships, you have that one person who just cool to go to do their 9 to 5. They're content with that, but then the other person is always a dreamer, always thinking of the next thing. I guess I want to say. You had a male accountant that told you you're the most knowledgeable female real estate owner he's encountered. Okay, that's what's up. Janine says she does the majority of the savings. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's men who tend to want to save more. What do you guys think? I think that would have been a goal. I mean, that would have been a good poll question as well. Who tends to be the one who wants to save more in a relationship? I don't know. I guess it just depends, right? I think it depends because I've seen couples who were opposites in that field. Like you would have the man who was really, really tight. You know, it's hard to get him to part with even a penny. And then you have the wife who was shopping, who always wanted to have lavish parties, or um, perhaps it was the other way around. The wife wants to save money. The wife wants to be very frugal, make sure that they have everything in order, and the husband is out buying new cars or he's gambling away their money. They can barely make it because although on paper they should be doing well, maybe they're high earners, maybe they both make 6 figures, but he's out cavorting with his side chicks. He's out flashing with his friends. He wants to have every pair of Jordans that comes out, which is crazy, right? Whoever's trying to chill, like it could be the boxing scholar, it could be your mate that's trying to chill and is not really trying to build. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they're not trying to build. And when I say build, I mean build your empire, right? And I don't mean be a Rockefeller or be uh, Jay Z and Beyonce because you know some people say I'm gonna be a power couple. Maybe you're just building your finances. Maybe you're building your investment portfolio, building so that when your kids are going to college, if you have children, then you have a reliable nest egg that will allow you to be able to travel with your mate, to be able to vacation and buy your medication and not have to worry about different things. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Lisa says it depends on the saver and investor planning ahead for the taxes. Absolutely. It does depend. You think it depends on the person, TSM? Very interesting. Um, let's go back to my notes. And I'm trying to stay on topic so I don't venture out too much. Thank you guys for being patient with me. And I have to ask, is ambition compatibility more important than love? Um, you guys can answer in the chat if you think ambition is more important or if love is more important. As far as I'm concerned, if he's not ambitious, I don't think we will really have a lot to really talk about because when I'm a sapiosexual, I like to talk to intelligent people, even if it's not someone that I'm romantically involved with. If it's someone who's a friend, the kind of conversations that I want to have are about investment opportunities. I don't want to talk about relationships. I don't want to talk about what your man is doing and is not doing. I don't want to talk about somebody else's business. I want to talk about things that will enrich us. What are your uh, what are you thinking about when everyone else is asleep? What's keeping you awake at night? What book do you want to get out this year? What do you want to create this year? What opportunities do you want to realize for yourself? You know what I mean? I don't want to talk about trivial things. So if I'm with someone in a relationship, it's not really going to work if we're not on that same wavelength, right? And like I said, after my divorce, I was kind of sort of in a relationship that I thought was going somewhere and it wasn't. But anyway, uh, but this person was really, really, really very similar to me. We both are writers, very ambitious, very much okay. When I wake up in the morning, I'm hitting the ground running. I don't, I respect your opinions, but I don't need you to assist me in anything. I'm a self starter, and that's what I like. I like a guy that's gun ho that can get to it. If I have to stop what I'm doing to keep babysitting you and tending to you like a child, that's not going to work. And they weren't like that. They were really, really industrious and like myself, they had lots of balls in the air to the point where I was like, okay, where's the time for me? And that's what really, honestly, uh, prevented us from going any further because they never really had time for me. Like I'm like, okay, well, what's going on? And they're here, there, and everywhere, like every day, 7 days a week. It was as though they were, um, like they felt like if they stopped for a second, then everything will fall apart. And while I respected that, I think at that time in my life, I was chill. At that time in my life, I was the one that was chill because I was separating from my employer and I was at home recovering from an illness, which I still am a little bit, but I was switching reels and I think I had just finished my last book, but it's been 4 years since I published a book, but I was starting another business. I just kind of didn't have a lot of energy for getting things situated at that time. I was in flux. I was pivoting. So as I was pivoting and in flux and kind of in a certain position, they were kind of going forward and it just didn't work out. And I'm the type of person that I respect that. I respect the grind. I respect the hustle. I respect that if I'm not right here with you, ready to meet you where you at, if you gotta leave me, because if I gotta leave you, I'm leaving you. And um, if that was my husband or something, of course, I would have expected them to be more understanding and more caring, right? But just somebody that I'm kind of sort of serious with, and I'm not really in a serious relationship like that with, then I understand. I feel like I said, before you get involved with someone seriously, you should kind of have your personal stuff sorted out, right? And I think a lot of people get into relationships for potential. And women, you have this bad. You would get with a man based on his potential. Well, he's cute. He has a degree, but he has a degree, but you know, and I'm not saying this to put anybody down, but if he's not making enough money to support his family, then he's just not making enough money to support his family. Maybe he's only making enough money to support himself. And if there's a disparity in income, that's going to create tension anyway, right? Let me know if you agree with me. Don't let me talk and just be talking in the thin air, guys. Sound off in the comments. Let me know, especially if the pay discrepancy is the woman on top and the male at the bottom. If they're not making similar incomes, then the male may grow resentful. The woman may grow resentful because she feels like she's bringing home the bacon and he's not really doing his part. And he may feel resentful. He may feel less than a man. Like she's treating me like I'm a child, or she acts like I'm not good enough for her. Right? That can happen. So I think that when you become one, when you're getting married, then you should at least be on a similar playing field, or otherwise the man, if it's going to be any discrepancy, it should be that the woman makes less than the man. And don't start yelling at me in the chat, but I just feel that a man always needs to feel like a man, so that you know things, because when when it's not that way, then it can get crazy. I've seen it happen. So I'm just being real and I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying? So let me check out the chat. Let me see what you guys are talking about, or if you're saying anything. Okay, nothing, no one so far. Our poll. Okay, let me see. So far in the poll, it says most people said that they are the builders in the relationship. That is interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so let's go to the next topic, and or the next part of my notes. How do you save when your partner is spending? I remember one of my coworkers when I was still employed, and I think I kind of mentioned this the other night, but um, she and her husband own several properties, and she would save her money. And when she needed things, her husband would always say, "Well, just use the credit card. Just use your credit card. You have a credit card." But she didn't want to use the credit card. She wanted to pay that debt off. However, her husband was constantly keeping them in a financial bind because he wanted to use credit for everything. He wanted her to give him his her whole paycheck. So when she got paid, all of her paycheck went into an account. And then she had to use a credit card, and she tried to use a credit card very sparingly. Like she would cook at home and bring her lunches every day. She wouldn't buy herself any new clothes. She wouldn't go to the beautician. But here her husband was, honey. I remember one time we went somewhere, y'all. We went somewhere and we went and got these pastrami's at the Hat. If you've never been to California, if you've never heard of the Hat is where you go get. I'm telling you, this pastrami is so bomb, right? So I was with her and her husband, and we all went to the Hat. They had never been. When I tell you, he brought out a wad of cash like this, I'm not playing with you. They had just sold a home so that they could what's the word I'm looking for? Reconfigure their finances or whatever. And what do you call it when you just, somebody let me know in the chat because one of you guys are smarter than me and you can help me come up with that word. But basically, they were, rearranging their finances. So, you know, like I said, she wanted to save money because she wanted to keep all of their homes. And finally, they were just unable to do that because they were in such dire straits with their finances that if they didn't sell the home, they would end up losing it all. So they sold that home so that they could pay everything off. Why did this man go out and buy himself a new truck? I think she had a newer car, then he had two used cars. I mean, then, like I said, he had her go and do another loan, like sign her name on another line of credit. So he's walking around with all this money in his pocket. When they went grocery shopping, they shopped separately. It was just a mess. I think they're still in that mess. Now they're down to one home, and they worked together and built up their finances so that they could be able to have that nest egg and be able to have those properties. And now, could you imagine? That was several years ago. If they were able to hold on to those properties a little bit longer, they probably would have they probably would have made money hand over fist. But because of his desire to live high on a hog and to act like he had it like that, but they obviously didn't. Like, why are you walking around with thousands of dollars in your pocket? But she would complain to me every day. Every day, what do I do? What do I do? I don't know what the F you do. I know what I would do, but you're not built like me. But honey, oof, definitely crazy, Deneen. Exactly. That's exactly what he was doing, honey. When we got those pastrami's, when I tell you he was peeling, I mean, he paid for everything, and I let him, honey. I'm sorry, I wasn't about to pay for my own pastrami. If a man wants to pull out his money and pay for my pastrami, he could pay for my pastrami. And they were like, "Oh, the pastrami is so good," and I love her, but I just felt like I wish, and she wasn't the type of woman that was like that anyway, to argue. And sometimes and I don't want to make this like a battle of the sexes, because it could be a male or a female going through this. Sometimes it's the man that's more passive, who just wants his wife to be happy, who doesn't want to make waves and argue, who just, okay, I'll go ahead and sign for the new credit card. Okay, we can refinance the house. And they're digging themselves deeper and deeper into a hole. When you are married, you have to be on one accord so that you can have something. Sometimes it may be that you can't go on vacation this year. Sometimes it may be that you can't buy yourself a new dress or go get your hair done every 2 weeks like you used to, because your finances don't allow for it. You're married already, you got your man. Learn how to do a hairstyle at home. And if you know that times are hard, don't try to make it harder for yourself by spending money needlessly, right? But yes, that was their situation. And I think till this day, they are still having issues with their money. And now they're retired, going into retirement, and I'm retired, so I can tell you, when you're retired, you're especially when you're young. I'm a lot younger than her, so you know, I don't know, I don't know. Hopefully, she ain't watching this, y'all. I don't think she is. I don't think she is. But and we talked about separate accounts versus joint accounts, budgeting boundaries, and things of that nature. And this is another one, protecting your credit. I know a lot of women who go into marriages with A1 credit. Again, this is just an example. So if you're a male listening to this, don't get upset. Sometimes it's the men, but I'm going to use women this time for example. You go into a marriage, let's just keep it real. There can be female bums and male bums, right? And if you're married to a bum, you're just married to a bum. But don't, because some of you meet people and you lead with, oh yeah, I make 6 figures a year. I got an 800 credit score. An 800 credit score is like having $1 million. So you're basically saying, listen, exploit me. Don't lead with your credit score, and don't lead with how much money you make, because if you run across the wrong person, you're a mark, and they got you. They got you. They're gonna do whatever they have to get their claws into you. And as soon as you walk down that aisle with them, or as soon as you put that ring on her finger, they're gonna run through your money, and they're gonna mess up your credit. I've seen it happen. I know that's right, Deneen. Deneen says, I refuse to let my credit be messed up, and I'm frugal with my spending. As you should. As you should be. Listen, my credit was already messed up because as a college student, I didn't know how to act with my credit. But when I got married, but um, honey, as soon as I got married, I was like, hand over your social security, hand it over, hand it over, give me that social security number. But if you know, you know. But I know couples like that. You know, the husband, he has excellent credit. Maybe he has a GI Bill where he can go get a home, and the wife is running them. She has credit cards for every store, and she's maxing them out. If you want to go broke, if you want to never have money, run up a bunch of credit card debt. That's the easiest way to be broke because you got to pay that stuff back. Good credit is not for credit cards. Good credit is for when you need a loan. It's so that you don't have high interest rates. It's so that if you need to get a loan to buy a home, or if you need to finance your aspirations to own a business, right? If you have good credit, then you have a better opportunity of taking that money instead of taking money out of your home or taking your savings. You could use credit for your business. I think that's how we should look at credit. We shouldn't look at credit like we're going to use it for everyday purchases, for vacations, and things of that nature. Could you do that? Of course, but you want a decent credit score so that you're not paying a bunch of interest on big purchases, right? And so that you're not being told what you can get or what you can have. You're able to say, you know what, I want this, I want that. And because of your credit score, you have shown that you have credit worthiness. Like when I go buy a car, no, you don't tell me which car I'm getting. You don't tell me my interest rate. I tell you what I'm going to accept. You don't tell me, talk to me about a down payment. I'll tell you what I want and what I'm willing to pay. And if not, and they're not usually going to say not. When your credit score is right, they're going to make it happen because you know why? They know the bank is going to finance you. Now, if you have money to pay for your own car, by all means do that. But I'm going to finance mine. I'm not going to pay cash for an expensive car. I'm not. Because why not use their money, right? Just get it at a low interest. So I don't know. Let me know if you disagree, if you feel like you should pay for cars with cash. Your opinions may differ from mine. That's fine. I don't mind. My husband is not into Jordans and all name brands. He thinks it's crazy to spend 150 and above for sneakers. I think it's crazy too, and I can't believe I do it. But I know many husbands who, are the opposite, Deneen. And it's not just the young kids that, think like that. I think you should buy a car outright or have it paid off in less than 2 years. I think less than 2 years is pretty cool, but I think for a car, I think you should kind of lease it or you should have a note because why take that money and spend it all at one time? Especially if you have a good interest rate. If you have a point 0.8 interest rate, then you're not going to pay a lot of interest on that car to begin with. And while cars do depreciate, a lot of us, you know, um, we use our cars to get back and forth to our businesses to work. So we need reliable cars. Where I live at, okay, in sunny California, a lot of us commute back and forth to work. So we need reliable cars, and reliable cars tend to be newer cars, right? So unless you just have 40, 50 grand, 40, 50 grand lying around that you can use to purchase a vehicle, right? And if you take 40, 50 grand and you think about the interest that you can keep if you invest it or put it into your 401k, you're going to get much more money than if you have a low interest rate on a car. That's how I think of um, spending money. Like, how much money what I make if I invested or if I put it into an investment vehicle versus if I try to save myself money on interest. You know, a lot of people say, I got to pay my student loans off. I got to pay my student loans off. Well, if you're like me, I was able to pay my student loans off by being a public servant. So I didn't have to pay for those 3 degrees that I got. Thank you, Jesus. But so, you know, I was creative in that aspect. But before those loans were forgiven, they were just sitting there. They were just sitting there in deferment. They were being managed. I was never in forbearance. I was never behind. They were just kind of sitting there until they got forgiven. Because why would I try to take my money to pay that off, right? When a loan, that student loan was the longest debt that I had on my credit. And once it was forgiven, my credit shot up, right? So that's how I think of it. Denise says, I think you should lease or go to the auction for a car. Have you ever been to an estate auction? I would love to attend one. You know what? I haven't. I remember years ago, my mother went to an estate auction and she was able to get bedroom furniture. My mother had that bedroom furniture forever. And when she got rid of it, she didn't get rid of it because anything was wrong with it. She got rid of it because it was older looking. But guess what? When she got some new furniture, that furniture didn't last that as long. That furniture she got from that estate sale was still in top shape. That dresser and all that stuff. Sometimes you can get some good stuff. I think I have got some good pieces. Now that I think of it, from a maybe it wasn't estate sales, but maybe I remember after that real estate. Uh, what was it? Let's call it the real estate pandemic. Remember in 2008, around that time, people were losing their houses like crazy. You could get somebody's brand new furniture for pennies. And I remember I used to do that. Like I would go get me an armoire because if I bought, this is how I was, you know, when my children were little. If I bought something brand new once and it didn't last, okay, we're going to use this time. And I did that. I think I had a used dinette set for a long time because I had bought one brand new and it was like it just didn't last. They don't make stuff like they used to. If you want good furniture, you're gonna pay thousands of dollars. If you want a good dinette set, you want that good sturdy wood. Like remember back in the day, how our grandmothers used to buy a dinette set and they could pass it down. That type of furniture is like $10,000 for a dinette set. I don't got that. I don't got that at all. They do not make anything like they used to. They don't make the only thing that I would buy um, brand new every time is an appliance. And I think every time I would want to buy a car brand new, it's a big difference because when you buy a used car, then you're going to buy whatever. And I've had used cars before and they did pretty good. But most of the time, if you buy a used car, depending on how many miles it has, depending on how they treated that car before you, then you might have issues with that car. And I just rather not deal with that. I just rather have something brand new that only I have ever driven with service package, a warranty, gap insurance, all of the above. So I don't have to worry about it. Listen, let me just drive on up to the dealership, go on and, give me my oil changes and all of that already paid for. But that's just me. Okay, we're getting to the end, guys. We're almost at the end of the road. Thank you guys for being here. Deneen, you've been holding me down. You and Lisa J have been holding me down all week. I appreciate you, ladies. Um, Now, I think we asked about budgets and protecting your credit. Have you ever hidden money to protect your goals? Do you think that I know TSM asked earlier about privacy. Do you think that that is what's the word I want to use? Is that dishonest to hide money from your spouse? Have you ever hidden money from your spouse? I didn't hide money, but I would never say how much I had. So I don't know if that's hiding money, then I did that. But would you ever hide money from your spouse so that you could protect your finances? I know some people who have to do that. Um, I know people that if they didn't lie about their money or if they didn't hide their money, then their man would take it from them. I know, listen, and you may think to yourself, then that's just crazy. But I know women who they will get their check and sign it over and hand it to their baby daddy. They will get their income tax check and split it in half with the baby daddy who hasn't worked, who hasn't done anything for his kids. And he's getting half of the income tax because they're his kids too. And she's using the kids as a dependent. I've heard and I've seen it all. And that's probably why I'm single because I wish a mofo would. And William says, one of my friend girls' uncle have license to deal out of a car auction in Arkansas. She says she bought a great car with low mileage and she had the car for 2 years. You can find, I think, good cars at an auction. I'm not saying that you can't, depending on how much you spend. If I remember one time my sister, she was able to get a car from an older guy, and she had that car for quite a while, and she tore that car up. That car wasn't a bad car when she got that car. It was a older car in the year, but it had low miles. When I tell you, it ran like new money. But my sister at the time, she was younger, just getting her license, wasn't really a great driver, so probably hitting every pothole, every curve. My little sister has always been like that. Like if she's in the car, she gonna, some kind of way she gonna have dents on her doors. I don't know how she does that. I think I think when she goes to get gas, now that she's older, she doesn't do that anymore. But back in the day, she would always uh, have dents on her car because she was just a terrible driver. But I don't dispute that you can find a good car used. I don't dispute that at all. Just for the most part, when you want to think about, okay, do I want to buy another car? Say if I only wanted to buy one car and have it for 15 years, right? Or if I want to pass, I have teenagers, right? If I want to pass it down to one of my teens, or if I want to sell it, or if I want to do whatever with it. If this is a car that I'm going to be driving for long term versus okay, I'm spending 5, 6 thousand. Now in California, if you think you can get a car for 3 or 4 thousand, you can't get a little car for that. You're coming out the pocket. You're coming out the pocket. You're gonna spend some cheese for a used car. And when I tell you these cars that they sell have hundreds of thousands of miles on them, who's trying to do that? Janine, I think that's the same thing as hiding money. She says, I don't hide. Janine says, I don't hide money. I just don't let him know exactly how much. Janine, I think that is hiding money, hon. You're hiding. You're hiding. You're still hiding money, girlfriend. Okay, what's the next question that I have on the list? Okay. When do you outgrow someone? Is growth betrayal? And I think I talked about that earlier about someone else being more ahead than you. But let's put this in the realm of being married. If you're married to someone, can them possibly obtaining more financial goals, or perhaps they have started a business that's doing really well and it's taking them away from home a lot more, and you haven't really found your thing that can really take you to the next level. Perhaps you're still working the same job, you haven't received a promotion or anything, and maybe you guys are growing apart, right? Because they're spending more time at their business than they are at home. Do you think that that can cause people to separate? I think that depending on a couple's value system and how how much time they spend apart, I think that it can actually be an be a potential for a divorce, right? If the wife is spending a lot more time at her business because her business is growing and she needs to be there than she's spending at home, maybe her husband will start to feel like, wait a minute, I don't have a wife. She's never here to cook dinner because sometimes, and some wives will say, well, I'm not cooking and cleaning every day. And sometimes it's not just that your husband expects you to be a maid or to wait on him hand and foot. Sometimes your husband just wants you to cook for him, share a meal with him, and sit down and talk. And if you're not there to do that, then maybe he doesn't feel that special, or maybe he doesn't feel that you value the relationship. And sometimes when that starts to happen, someone else can creep in on your relationship. I think, like I said, if the relationship is skewed and one person is more ambitious than the other, or one person is more goal oriented and making more money, it should be the man. Because a woman, she kind of looks to her man to lead, but if it's the woman, a man can find that to be problematic, and he may want to go and be with someone who values him a little bit more, who sees him as the prize, right? Because men want to be seen as a prize these days. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to get nothing started, but I'm just saying that's how it is. But yeah, you guys got to work that out, before you get married and decide how you're going to navigate financial territory, what's expected of one another, and how you expect to be supported. Some people say, well, I shouldn't have to tell them, but sometimes you do have to have those discussions and conversations and let that other person know that, well, right now I'm an RN, but I want to be a nurse practitioner, right? So I am still in school. And if we get married right now, or before we get married, I want to finish my license. Sure, for that. I don't want to get married until I become a nurse practitioner. Or perhaps if you got married and you were just graduating and becoming an RN, but later on you decide, I want to go back to school and become uh, a nurse practitioner. I'm sure you would expect that your husband wouldn't start hemming and hawing like, oh, you already got your nursing degree. Why do you need to go back to school? We can't afford that. And not support you. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes maybe you're a teacher, but now you want to go into real estate. I've seen that happen. Um, I see people do many different things in relationships. And sometimes, a lot of times, it works because a spouse sees it as a way for them to improve their financial standing. But sometimes it can be the case that, wait a minute, you're already away from home enough. We have kids. If you're doing something else, then that means I have to be the one to take on more responsibilities, and I'm already working and I'm already spent. When I come home, I need your help. So those are things that you got to think about before you marry someone. How responsible are they? How supportive are they? Because if they're the type of person that's, like I said, just content to be at the ground level, like, listen, I'm a teacher. I'm not trying to be a vice principal. I'm not trying to go back to school and get my doctorate so I can start lecturing to become a professor. I'm not trying to do none of that. I'm okay teaching kindergarten, and I don't want to move up. I don't want to do extra training so I can bump up my pay. I'm not doing any of that. I'm already doing what it is I want to do. And maybe you're like, wait a minute, what I'm doing right now is cool, but I want to do more. I want to do other things. So you got to discuss that with someone and make sure that they're being very honest and upfront with what where they are and how they see you. Because some people just say whatever to get you down the aisle. And once you do that, then they switch up on you. Or if you're on the opposite end of that and you can't see yourself struggling with someone as they perhaps quit their job so that they can go back to school and get more educated so that they can make more money. If you know that you don't want to do that, or if you can't see yourself doing that, be honest about that too, right? So I just want to say this: love is enough, it can be enough, but at the same time, people change. People have dreams and aspirations, and you have to ask yourself if you are willing to stay with someone who can't support you, or if you're willing to stay with someone who doesn't want to progress in life like you do. All right. So, thank you guys for tuning in. This was another great show. If you're on the replay and you watched to the end, thank you for watching again. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you like about the show and weigh in on all the topics. Okay, because just because the live is over, that doesn't mean you can't still leave your opinion. I love when I go back and see people or watching the replay and they're weighing in as if they were during during the live. But at the same time, if you can tune in, I think tomorrow night I may go live at 6 p.m. as well. I have a lot to do, and so I'll probably go live at 6 p.m. tomorrow as well. But this is gonna be money making March. We're talking about money all month long. If you made 5 figures last year with your businesses and with your content creation, this year is going to be the year you make six. If you made 6 figures last year, this is the year we're making seven. We're clearing out all the clutter and getting down to the nitty gritty of what's holding us back from reaching our goals, and who is holding us back. Okay, because ain't nothing gonna stop us from reaching our goals in 2026. Stick with me, and I'm gonna keep you motivated and inspired, and I'm gonna keep you informed so that you can keep your money growing and save, growing and glowing all 2026. Thank you all. Much love and respect to you all. Have a great night.